So a new WRX, like the cheapest new WRX, costs $40,000 or more for like the base WRX, like the cheapest one you can buy. And that is a broken metric and system. That feels wrong. And in today's impromptu video, because we're on my way back from work, I was working in downtown Boston today, and I was on a phone call with a buddy that's thinking about buying a WRX, and he wants to get a 2025. And basically, I just found out that basically an unspec'd, like, you know, with no extras, WRX, like the cheapest one, if you want to buy one new, is more than $40,000 delivered to your driveway. Let me give you guys some history before we talk about why that's a ridiculous price for this car, and it doesn't make any sense, and it breaks the entire, you know, portion of why I think this community is so powerful. Let me give you some background. I bought my first WRX for like something, I bought it used, don't get me wrong, I bought it for like $20,000, $21,000, I think, and it was a limited. I bought it in 2017. It was a 2015 limited, and it had like 20,000 miles on it. In 2018, I thought about, at the end of 2018, my local Subaru dealers were trying to get rid of their base model 2018 WRX with a facelift, and I really thought about doing it, but I was just like, I can't justify the cost of what a base with a facelift would cost, right? And get this, right? At the time, that facelifted base WRX, they were offering it to me for $24,000, $23,995. Brand new, off the lot WRX in 2018. It's now 2025, and sure, the WRX is nicer, it's more luxurious, it makes more power, it's got a better engine. Maybe it doesn't make more power. It makes a better engine. Sure, all those things are fine, but the same concept of buying a new WRX in the same situation would now cost me technically 38 grand, but with tax, title, documentation, and delivery, you're looking at about $41,000 for the cheapest WRX. Even if you live in a state with no income tax, you're still just above $40,000 delivered if you buy it new. So here's the deal. I agree, it tracks with other cars. Cars are getting more expensive. It's just more expensive to have a car. I get it. You know, inflation, all these things. Cars should cost more money. Yes, I agree with all of that. But here's the problem. $40,000 is too much. It's too much year-over-year growth for what the WRX is, especially when you consider the WRX is supposed to be like the entry-level sports car. You're supposed to have like the Civic SI is like the sporty coupe that isn't really a sports car, and then you're supposed to have the option to go buy the WRX for your like first or second car, and it'd be like a sports car that you can modify. At $40,000, this is no longer a car that somebody that's like 21 years old can buy. And if you're 21 years old and buying it, unless you make crazy money, you're purchasing more than you can actually afford. That's a fact. Now, yes, people are purchasing more than they can afford with cars, and that's just, it is what it is, but it's just such a broken system. I bought my second WRX with 50,000 miles on it for like $17,000. Yeah, you're like, yeah, that's a used car. I'm just saying that, like, I don't know. I bought the current WRX that I just rebuilt for $1,800. Yes, I had to put 7 grand into it, but I still have a running WRX with a motor with 80,000 miles on it for, you know, $9,000 maybe. So why is this ridiculous? It breaks the mold of what this WRX and what the WRX is supposed to be, and it changes more than just our opinions, right? You might be watching this video and saying like, why do I even care about this? Well, the reason you care is because it's going to change the demographic of the people that are buying it. So you and me who own these cars, maybe we bought them at different times, maybe we have loans on them, whatever they are, we access these cars. Let's say we want to modify them, or we love the aftermarket community, or we love the get-togethers, right? That's all fueled by younger folks for the most part. If you modify these cars and you're a little bit older, please don't hate me. The mass majority of people are younger that are modifying these. They're entry-level cars for people, entry-level sports cars. Now here's the problem. As these cars get more expensive, the average age of the driver goes up, and inherently, because it's more money, the demographic of the person buying it, you're getting less people that are buying it to modifying it. You're getting less people buying it to do all those things. And the more expensive cars are, the more expensive the kind of risk is in terms of modifying it. So that goes up as well. You have basically all these things that are kind of lining up to the fact that not only is there a risk, and not only is like it more expensive and prohibitive to get into, but look, like there's less incentive for aftermarket companies to make parts. There's less incentive for, basically all of this. Like when you drop the incentive, you drop the reason that companies develop parts, and there's less people out there doing meetups, and I could go on, but like the numbers don't lie. It's just like there's less. And look, that's not the end of the world. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be more, and I'm not saying that going to a different demographic is going to ruin everything, but it's going to change things. So if you own a WRX right now, no matter what year, as the demographic changes for Subaru, the rest of the world that supports these cars, that makes parts, they're going to adjust. It becomes a business decision, and there's less incentive to make parts, which I think for a lot of us, these cars are exciting and fun because you get to modify them and you get to do all these fun things that maybe you wouldn't otherwise be able to do. And it's honestly something real to think about because it changes a lot. And then just to say it out loud, 40 grand is a lot of money for a car. Like, it's a lot of money for a car. And especially if you go one step further, you just think about the fact that other people got into VBs for much less. Here's some juxtaposition for you guys. I'm driving my base, right? It's not a premium, but you can't buy a base anymore. So it's still, I get the shell, right? I get the engine, I get everything else. I'm driving my VB WRX right now. I bought this car for $27,000, right? To my driveway, I think it was like $27,900 or something. It was a pretty inexpensive car relative to if I were to go do that again today, it would be $41,600 for me. That is substantial. We're nearing the metric of a 2x cost. We're not there yet, but we're getting there, which is crazy because it's also, I bought this at the end of 2022. It's been 3 years. So access to a new WRX in 3 years essentially has increased in cost in the metric of $10,000 to $13,000 depending on where you live in the country. That is remarkable in so many negative ways. So it's food for thought. Where do you take this information that I'm talking about right now? Well, that's a really dang good question. I guess where I'm coming at it with right now, and my general opinion is, you should be buying used. And I think it's pretty set in stone that the best deals here, because it's basically the same car, is buying used. That's what I would do. If I was in your shoes, I'd be getting into this car and modifying it and having a ton of fun with a used one. Now, some of you guys are gonna be like, it's not the same as buying new and you're not gonna get the same stuff out of it. It's the same car essentially. Buy it used, save some money, get into one of these things for like 25 grand, have just as much fun and have an extra 10 grand to spend. I don't know, I think it's pretty ridiculous. I'll see you guys in the next video.